but I always compare it to like the military. You know, we unfortunately have been in war for a long time as a nation, and a lot of these kids are coming back from over there, again, doing and seeing things that I don't believe are natural. I don't think human beings are wired to do and see those types of things without paying some sort of price. And they're coming back and they're really messed up. And fortunately, the benefit of that, if there can be a benefit to something like that, is they're coming back now and there's become a lot more of a public awareness. PTSD has been used so often that now it's almost itself a buzzword, where you hear it, people are like, PTSD, you know. But it's real. I mean, it really happens. I believe that first responders, like soldiers go to war and they're there for a year, 2, 3 years, whatever it might be. Then they come back and I always say their brains are scrambled. It's not everybody, you know. But a lot of the first responder communities, it's the same type of thing, except it's more of a chronic exposure. You're exposed to it over a longer period of time as opposed to an intense amount of stress in a short period of time. It's more stress spread out over a career, what have you. So, but the destination is the same. You know, where you end is the same thing, and it's not, to me, it's not a coincidence that police, fire, EMS, and soldiers have relatively the same statistical rates of suicide, substance abuse, divorce, domestic violence, all of these other things, and it's significantly higher than the general population. And there's a reason for that, you know, and I feel a big reason of it is that not enough is being done to mitigate the damage that they're incurring. I didn't realize anything was wrong with me. I say in the book, and I said on Susan's show, I always felt like I was perfect for this job. I was immune to it. I have seen horrible things. Never had a nightmare, never had a problem, nothing. I felt like it went in, went out, and I was done with it, you know. And then when I started writing this book, it's dedicated to a friend of mine, Frank Petta, who was a paramedic with New Orleans, who's passed away, unfortunately, from cancer. And Frank was diagnosed and started going through his battle at the same time I started writing this book. And oddly, I started experiencing a lot of weird things myself where I thought I was dying. A lot of stomach issues. I was thinking thoughts like, what is wrong with me? You know, my wife's like, I'm having a midlife crisis. You'll be fine. I'm like, I'm not even midlife yet, you know. So I went and saw my doctor. I had all these tests and everything kept coming back normal, you know. And in hindsight, I think what it was writing this book, all of these things started kind of coming out of my head that I thought had been, not bothered me, that I thought I had already, you know, deleted from the hard drive, you know, that weren't deleted from the hard drive. You know, I mentioned it's written with my friend Sean Cerny, and when we went together, I wrote the book, and Sean obviously signed off on it. But I went to him and I was like, what call should we, you know, you're trying to figure out, give me the highlight reel, what's the funniest ones, what's the craziest stuff that I should write about? And there's a couple of chapters in this book where he would talk about things, and I would tell him I wasn't on that call with you. I don't remember, you know. And he's like, no, you were there. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I would remember. I mean, the one particular one is there were 2 brothers who were shot. And there's a story in here, 2 young kids. One of them was a teenager, the other one was younger. And we get there, we wind up taking both of them. One of them was just kind of a graze wound, so he really didn't require anything from us. I mean, he was shot. It wasn't a graze wound. It went into his leg, but he was stable. The other one, his brother, wasn't. And we put the back of an ambulance, you kind of have where your stretcher goes, and then there's a little bench seat part here where we set the stable kid on the bench seat, and we had the critical brother on the stretcher. And he wound up dying, you know, died on the way to the hospital. And there was a period, I get a little bit, the little brother was looking at the older brother as he died. And Sean told him, look away, kid, you don't want to watch this. I didn't remember doing that. I was like, it wasn't me. I wasn't on that. And as he started, he was like, yeah, well, I know you were there, you know, because we wound up decompressing his chest for his collapsed lungs and all this kind of standard stuff, sticking needles in him and stuff. And as he started kind of recounting the details of this call, the way I always explain it is like, imagine if your memory is completely black, and then just like almost like fireworks, little clouds of vision start popping up. I was like, wow, I was on that call, but I completely wiped it out of my memory, or suppressed it enough where I didn't remember it. And so writing this book, all this, I started kind of dealing with all that stuff, and fortunately, so I kind of always say dip my toe into mental illness with this. From what I never was suicidal or anything like that, or hospitalized, or even formally diagnosed. Even though my primary doctor was like, yeah, maybe we should put you on a little something. I'm like, oh, so for me, it was more of I think it was a cathartic experience, and afterwards I learned that they recommended a lot of first responders either do self-journals or things like that for that same reason, the power of writing, and even fiction. I think you can work out a lot of whatever demons are inside of you by putting them out on a page. So hopefully it will kind of create a dialogue that's been received with military and the combat veterans, and that'll kind of carry over to the first responder community, where more is done to kind of offset that stuff and prevent damage from happening. Because again, like I said, a lot of times you don't even realize the stuff is being done.